Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the latest episode of Rick and Morty Cryo Mort a Rickver. Alright, this was kind of a confusing one for me. Not that I completely and utterly hated it or whatnot, but the first half was doing it in a certain kind of way that was leading you to one kind of story and then just went into a completely and utter different kind of way. So we start off and we see that Rick and Morty are just kind of like bopping around in the spaceship, listening to podcasts and whatnot. And you're just like, okay, we'll see how this goes. They find this cryo ship. And Rick's like, all right, let's see what's going on here. It's like, oh, it's full of rich people. Let's do all this kind of shit and pretty much like steal all their shit. Pretty much seeing everything with this kind of hypercoal that Rick is fixated on. At first, Morty's like, alright, we're okay for this. I don't mind stealing from a baby, but what the fuck's kind of going on here? He was pretty much going to blow open the vault. But, of course, Morty kind of stops him. However, unleashing the explosives in another portion of the ship that leads to a fire and starts waking everybody up from cryosleep. So Rick is able to find pretty much two dead people and claim their spots. The thing is, this kind of screws them over as we see that Rick is pretty much taking the child's one and Morty takes pretty much this janitorial one. So Rick pretty much plays off these kind of parents, and the thing is, he's acting nice around them, even though the kid was pretty much a dill hole to these kind of parents. It's like, alright, let's see how this kind of works out here for Rick, and Morty is pretty much trying to be like, oh, okay, he's got to make it look like he's got this compliance ship and everything, and it's your rich versus the poor kind of thing kind of going on, and Morty accidentally pretty much starts a rebellion on him, but of course Rick is being a dill hole and going through. It's like, listen, I got this, they're gonna give me the shit, and Morty's like, get me the fuck out of here, because I'm scraping shit out by hand, literally. They've only been awake for 5 hours, how the fuck are they shitting this much? So we see that Rick has pretty much this like manhood thing that he has to do with the parents, and then he'll be made a citizen and be able to get into the vault and everything. However, that's about also when the Makeys have their kind of revolution and are kind of going whole ass ham on shit. And it's like, all right, let's see how this kind of goes here. And they pretty much force the parents to kind of open up what's kind of going on there, and we find that nothing's in there. And they're like, what the fuck's going on? Of course, the rich and the poor are like, you stole all our shit. And Rick's like, no. I was going to steal all your shit. However, this shit was already gone beforehand. What the fuck else? All right, like, let's do this shit. And he brings out the bones and everything. And we find out it's like a monkey. Of course, someone was pretty much attached to this monkey. However, they find out that their Dillhole's son, who's like about 13, and the janitor dude that Morty had pretty much taken the place of, had both worked together and stole all of the hypercoal, and are pretty much on this gambling den. What then ensues is some kind of fucked up mixture of Cannonball Run and Speed Racer. We're like, we gonna get that shit back, motherfucker! And they just blast on through, and we see that Rick takes one of the cars that he was given for his pretty much manhood ritual kind of shit, and everybody's just like racing around. It's kind of crazy. I'm like, alright, well, we'll see what's kind of going on here. And of course, they get the information pumped out in the net that everything's kind of going haywire. The kid is like, oh shit, Chachaco, we gotta go from this. And they get onto this yacht and just blast on off. There's one zoo dude also gets a monkey, because that was the monkey that he kind of lost. And he's like, yeah, I'm alright. And Morty is actually able to kind of like blast out all of the money and hypercoal into space, and then the assholes just continue to kind of fight over it before they pretty much put them back on the ship, have everybody have a compliance thing, tie up the little shit, and lock him in the space thing. They then go back on their way and find another cryo ship, this time with drugs. And it's a medicinal one. It's like, there's going to be some good drugs in there. And then Morty's like, alright, fine, let's kind of check this out. And then the stinger at the end is like the zoo dude working with the new monkey that has gotten a lot of money through gambling. It's like, I should trust you. So, this... I don't hate this episode. It's just uneven in what it was attempting to accomplish, because there's like one half of the episode, I'm like, alright, this isn't really working too much for me, because Rick is just kind of like, it was more of a kind of regression to me, but it was more kind of classic Rick. And then it just evolved into this, like, kind of crazy-ass shit thing going on with, like, the Cannonball Run, where I'm like, alright, I'm not hating this, but I kind of would have rather had this be what they were attempting to do with the episode as a, what their whole thing would have been for the episode, because that would have been interesting, where it's just like, you know what, fuck it, Cannonball Run. Rick pretty much getting them into that kind of scenario would have made more sense for me. Not that the cryo ship's a bad one, it's just like, alright, Morty tried to be a little bit better, and of course, fucked some shit up. Rick was trying to be kind of a dill hole, but then tried to be kind of a better kind of dude to the parents because of how nice they were acting towards him. He's like, oh, okay, this kid's a little shit. So, this one's a weird one for me because I don't really hate it. I don't think it's bad. I just think they did pretty much a peanut butter kind of pickle scenario where it kind of works on certain kind of levels mashed together, but I think they should have either kind of fully fleshed out one bit or another bit to have a better kind of episode than kind of having these two together. It's like they had the ideas for these two kind of setups and then just mashed them together, and I think that's where I'm kind of getting my strangeness for this. So we'll see how this kind of goes. I don't think it was really horrible or anything. None of the jokes were just like, oh god, but I wasn't laughing out. I was more incredulous than I'm like, is this like Cannonball Run kind of thing? So we'll see how the rest of the episodes go. But if you enjoyed it, that's cool. No problem with that. If you hated it, I understand that. I'm not on that full level of hating this. I was just like, alright. So, we'll see where this goes. So, those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.